Let me see. This was Chewy, everybody. In case you're wondering. And this is also Chewy. Now she's outside and you can still hear her. She does that from time to time. Nothing that Orange Man says is worth writing down. But you see, when it's about your country, you really want to write it down. You want to pay attention because there was supposed to be a lot of important stuff. We're live on YouTube, everybody. Yay, congratulations to me. And all of you. So those of you who are now on YouTube, if you're not, please go on YouTube. This is where I'm showing most of the stuff. On here, you only get my face, so not a fair deal. On YouTube, you get much more. So if you are watching YouTube, you are now seeing that this is the situation with the air raid alerts in our country at the moment. This is where all of the regions that are lit up in red are the ones that, thank you Mad Max, are the ones where there are ongoing air raid alerts. You can see the drones are flying across the country, as it is currently a daily occurrence, unfortunately, because our neighbor is insane and keeps doing this to us. So that's the situation we're in. Last time we were live, the drones reached all the way up to here. This is a neighboring region of ours. I am here. I'm in the western region of Volyn. And last time the drones reached all the way up to here. We are in a much more privileged position than the majority of the country. A lot of you might remember, we don't really get a lot of drone strikes, we don't really get a lot of missile strikes, so unfortunately the rest of the country exists in a very different reality from ours. So hopefully today will be fine, and the air defense will get most of these bastards that are flying across our skies. Hello everybody on YouTube. Yay, we have launched. And we have 20 people watching. Thank you, appreciate you all. All right, happy to see you too. Happy to see you too. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so I think we have to inevitably, first and foremost, look at what was happening with our missile and drone strikes before we get to Trump, because this is what we do. We do a quick overview of what has been happening. Very kind of sort of relatively chill couple of days we had. So we had, okay, this was not chill. This was July 12th, 623 drones and missiles, mainly Shaheds, as always, the Iranian drones that Russians use very actively. By the way, I don't think we have ever looked at what Shahed drones actually look like. I know a lot of you may be under the impression that those are just like any regular type of, like you know, like the small FPV drones, like the Mavic drones, the ones that you use to film. No, they're actually very different, and I even bookmarked one somewhere. I don't know if I will be able to find it. I think I might be. Let me show you if I have it. Yep, I do have it. I think this picture is a wonderful example of how big these drones are, and they're carrying a lot of explosives, and there are hundreds of them being launched at us almost every single night. So yeah, that's a big boy. Are you guys seeing that? Hey, you too. Hi. Are you seeing this, YouTube? Are you seeing the size of that thing? That's absolutely horrifying. That's the stuff that is constantly going above our heads every single night and hits our buildings and our infrastructure, our everything. How annoying is that? So I just recently figured out that a lot of people, whenever we say drones, they imagine like, you know, just like regular casual day-to-day drones that are being used to film cute videos for your vlogs and your TikToks and No. In a perfect world perhaps, but in our reality, yeah, these are the kind of drones we're talking about. But there are many different kinds these days. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of decoys, as we have previously discussed, because they're used to distract and overwhelm the air defense system. So on the 12th, we had another massive attack, 623 drones and missiles. This is one of the results in the poor Chernivtsi. This was the explosion in the center of the city. As you can see, Why am I bringing up this particular place? Because we talked about it last time. We talked about Chernivtsi some time ago. We have mentioned how it's very rarely hit because it's very far away from Russia. It's sort of in a similar position to us, as in there's so much distance, you think you're safe. No one is really safe. And as you can see, yeah, it was hit pretty badly in the center. To those of you who do not remember where Chernivtsi are, let me show you. I cannot find it myself. Chernivtsi. There we go. There it is. It's very close to Romania. Yep, it's right here. Never been there. But as you can see, Russia is all the way here. These are the occupied territories. This is Chernivtsi. Lviv was also hit pretty hard. There was a massive attack on the city of Lviv, and so were other locations as well. So that was 12th, but thankfully after 12th we had a couple more, in a way, relaxed nights. If you compare 60 drones to 623, yeah, I guess it's better. And then 140. Yeah, we can. I guess we can work with that. So this is us drones wise. This is the this is the drone situation, everybody. I know. It keeps happening. Hello, Deborah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. To everyone on YouTube and on TikTok as well. I see you all. Hello, TJ. YouTube is linked in my bio. It's Edzena Solo, same as here. Привіт, Yaroslave. It's also, if you go on the link tree in the bio, hi Eminem, it's the first link. I link it every single time. So also YouTube, by the way, to those of you who were unhappy with YouTube's notifications, you have to hit the bell to get the notifications. More and more people telling me that when they hit the bell, I know, just like the good old YouTube days with the bloggers, hit that bell and the subscribe button, whatever. It actually sends you notifications. So just hit the bell. All right, let's get to Trump. It's inevitable. We have to do it, I'm afraid. So there was, yeah, it was teased for such a long time, for several days. There were all of these teasers. NATO's chief Rutte is flying into Washington. There's going to be a major announcement from Trump. Trump is unhappy with Putin. Trump is figuring out that Putin isn't serious about making a peace deal. Who could have thought? I mean, who could have possibly figured that out? And yeah, that something is going to happen. There's going to be some shift in policy because we were in this bizarre limbo back and forth with, yeah, we're going to give you more weapons. No, we're not going to give you any more weapons. Or actually, maybe we will, or maybe we will not. So there was a lot of that. And now finally we have some sort of resolution seemingly. So briefly, right, they have agreed on how weapon supplies to Ukraine are going to be working now. So these are going to be US manufactured weapons and they will be purchased by the NATO countries. So this is what we know for now. Billions of dollars in weapons, of course, including Patriot missiles and batteries. So this is important because Patriot systems are the main air defense systems that we're using against the insufferable bastard drones and missiles and all of the nonsense that Russia sends our way. So this is very cool. All of this will be distributed to Ukraine through the NATO countries. So NATO would pay for the weapons, not American taxpayer. Okay, well, we'll see about that. He added some weapons will arrive within days, so that was very funny, because he clearly means that shipment that was called back. Remember, we were discussing this entire conundrum with the weapons, a batch of weapons. This is Chewy having a meltdown, apologies. A bunch of weapons that were already on their way to Ukraine, and they were almost in Ukraine. They were already in Rzeszów, some of them, and Rzeszów is this city in Poland that is also a NATO hub and a NATO supply base. This is Rzeszów. If you're on YouTube, you're looking at it. You're seeing it's very close to the Ukrainian border, and it's one of the. It's not a sort of military secret. Everybody knows that it's used for the weapon supply. So we're talking about the weapons that were already there, and then they were turned away, I guess, because something happened. Hexeth or that guy named Elbridge, someone got in the way. No one knows what happened. So yeah, those are now going back into Ukraine. Okay, incredible, wonderful, amazing. And also there was a threat to hit buyers of Russian exports with tariffs. He used the word tariffs. Here they're saying Reuters is writing sanctions. And Russia has 50 days to agree to a peace deal. And unless Russia agrees to a peace deal in 50 days, then there are going to be consequences. So sort of hit or miss the entire situation. On one hand, of course, it's incredible that we're finally getting some sort of progress and some understanding at least that, okay, we're not getting abandoned fully, there will be air defense, there will be, another batch of weapons. Wonderful, thank you so much. We're not going to be dead in a month, all right? At the same time, a lot of this still remains very questionable because, 50 days, what do you mean 50 days? What will be happening in these 50 days? And okay, well, there is this rumor that among those weapons could be not just defensive weapons but offensive weapons as well, and there are talks about the potential delivery of longer range missiles that could potentially strike into Russia. But all of this are rumors. If that's the case, then yes, of course, this is a massive bargaining chip and the situation could change drastically, but this is just a speculation, right? We're just speculating here. This is not confirmed. Anyway, and if there isn't a deal in 50 days, then Trump will be putting 100% tariffs on Russian exports, as well as so-called secondary sanctions, which target third countries that buy countries' exports. This is something that has been long discussed and long promised, and it has been considered by many a vital step in ensuring that sanctions actually work. You have to come after the people who help Russia get away with it, basically. Countries that still purchase the Russian goods, countries that help Russia with their parallel imports scheme, where they're building these elaborate supply chains to basically, ignore the sanctions. So, all right, okay, again, sounds wonderful. Will it actually be implemented? That's another conversation entirely. So, such secondary sanctions are widely seen as likely to have a far more severe impact on Russia's economy than measures that have been imposed previously. Again, in theory, all of this is in theory. We haven't received any sort of confirmation, which sucks. Because when I heard, there's going to be these very tough measures and major announcement, I thought that this is what's going to be announced. And Lindsey Graham also popped up, as he does from time to time, annoyingly so. And he was like, there's going to be sanctions that were not previously seen. And all right. I mean, I guess that's my fault, mea culpa for listening to Lindsey Graham. So they also gave, there was a spectacular press conference, which unfortunately I had to watch because I thought there's going to be something important there. No. Couple interesting takeaways. Trump knows that the buildings here, thank you, Stephen, the buildings here are heavier in the United States than in the United States, and that they're made from heavier material. So when buildings collapse after Russian missile strikes, there are heavy casualties. Okay. That was interesting. So he knows something, I guess. He also said that Putin knows what a fair deal is, whatever that means. Again, no explanation on that. And that, he was also very unhappy with the entire situation being unclear. So I guess, wait, let me remember this correctly. He quoted his conversation with Melania about how he would have a conversation with Putin, and then he would tell Melania about his conversation with Putin. And he would be like, making such great progress. And then Melania would be like, I don't think so. Russia just bombed another major Ukrainian city. And Trump would be like, gosh darn it, Putin, what are you doing? Not again. So that was very weird. And then there were all of these anecdotes about Biden, how Biden is actually secretly against the transgender people. It was a lot. Hey guys, hello. Thank you for joining. Is Ukraine still developing listening stations for drone detection? I think we're developing everything that has to do with drones. If you can think of any innovation that has to do with drones, we're probably developing it. Boats with drones, drone stations, drones suppressing launching of the sea drones, and anything that has to do with drones. And I'm not entirely sure how successful these things are. This is only something that can be shown and can be seen after some time, after we see them attacking things, or after we see them being implemented on the battlefield. What's happening? Did I miss a troll? Oh no. Oh, we had a MAGA. We got someone from MAGA. Where is that person? No. Sorry, I went on a rant, everybody, and I missed someone. Where are you? Lady, wake up! Are you yelling? Chrissy, wake up! I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up! Hello? Okay, justified. It was fun. It was fine knowing, but you just keep repeating "Lady, wake up." Do you have anything else to say before I mute you? Kherson is dealing with attacks daily with drones on the front line. Yep, we discussed Kherson every single live stream, and I would have gotten to Kherson this. Okay, if you're gonna sound like this, if you're gonna give me ultimatums, then no, this is not how we're gonna do this. All right, no ultimatums here. I talk about this. I talk about everything as much as I can. If there is not enough, I don't know. I cannot dedicate the entire stream to one thing only. So, thank you, Karina. He will use supporting Ukraine as a distraction from Epstein, which is good for you. A win is a win. I say a win is a win. I am back on your For UP. Yay, that's good. I haven't been back on many For UPs in a while. For UPs, why do I keep saying For UP? What is a For UP? Sean is getting... okay. I know. We're gonna talk about that. I promise you. Hi, Stevo. Thank you. Okay. Justified. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky. Alright, let me just mute that person. And hopefully we can move on. So yeah, this entire situation, once again, seemingly we have had some progress. At the same time, if you really look at the situation, has the situation changed dramatically on the ground? Has there been any sort of major shift in the situation? Then you're seeing, actually not much has changed. But this is the type of rhetoric that only if it's fruitful, it's gonna be, the results of it will be seen with time, when the weapons actually start arriving and start getting implemented. So when we do another live stream and I tell you, actually you guys, there was a massive drone attack on our cities, but almost all of them were intercepted with very minor exceptions, this is how you will know, okay, the systems have been delivered and they're working, and they are showing results, right? But until that happens, all of this is just talking. All of this is just talk. Also, oh my God, look at this face. This is Putin from years ago, back from Trump's first term. This is 2018. Look at this. Look at this mug. Goodness gracious. Why do I have to know you forever? I hate it. All right. Okay. Let us also go back to this map. Hello, good to see you too. We're just discussing the Trump situation. Yay, I'm on your FYP. It's been a while, you guys. I know, but also I haven't been posting a lot because I've been so sad and disappointed in everything, and I thought it was pointless, so I didn't do much. So what I love though is how MAGA is infighting right now, and Trump has been it's mostly about the Epstein situation, right? That everything it's been unraveling. It's been unraveling at an unprecedented pace. They fell for it again, a word. Привіт, вам також. So, anyway, this is what we know so far, right? This is what we know so far about the weapons, about this deal. For the sanctions, for the tariffs, as Trump calls them, we will have to wait for about 50 days. Which a lot can happen in 50 days. For the first military equipment to finally arrive, we will have to again wait. So there's still a lot of waiting happening. But still, it's better than nothing. It's better than the situation we were in before. Let me see which NATO countries agreed to pay for these weapons for Ukraine, because this is an agreement that goes like this. It's the NATO countries that will be paying for the US manufactured weapons. So once again, remember how we discussed about this? Oh, potentially, Europe will be maybe will start developing their own weapons. They will not be purchasing the US weapons as actively. No. They will continue purchasing the US weapons, of course. I guess, yeah, we should have seen that coming. And the countries that have already have an intention to sign this agreement. This is Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, UK, the Netherlands, and Canada so far. There could be more. So these are the countries that will be paying the weapons. And from what I can see, from the sound of it, it's going to be not only for Ukraine, but perhaps some of the systems are also going to be kept for them. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for more deets on that. So, yeah, the plan here is clearly to say, well, from Trump's side at least, now he can say that, all right, we're not a piggy bank, as they like to say it, right? It's not just the American taxpayer money, it's NATO that is paying it. But still, I think there's going to be some backlash from MAGA, because a lot of them are very staunchly anti-Ukraine, and there was a lot of, including his own son, there was a lot of rhetoric from their side, about abandoning us fully, about how Russia is actually closer to them in values. There was all of this nonsense. So, yeah, there's still going to be backlash, but yeah. Well, it is what it is, and we have just had one more region closer to us lit up. All right. Hello, good to see you. Zelensky for U.S. president. You guys, you can keep him if you want. Will we have to take Trump though then? Because then I refuse. This is not a good deal for us. This is not very much art of the deal, if you know what I mean. Good people are being, it's awful. It's awful, this entire deportation thing, especially under the guise of Christian values or whatever. It's just repulsive. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you all. So, yeah. I think we have done pretty much. Unfortunately, there is nothing else to add to this Trump situation, because we were expecting so much more. But, well, okay, a win is a win. A win is a win. We will take that. It's good that at least, he is not dropping us entirely, so... all right. Thank you. Yeah, we've had obviously the great outpouring of one more example of the outpouring of support from the European countries with this agreement potentially being signed, because once again this is going to be us relying on the European support, so it is much appreciated. So thank you to all of you. Thank you. And thank you to... Just thank you. Thank you, Forklift. We're very grateful, and we appreciate everything. So I am always in opposition to any government, and that's just my baseline position. And with our current government in particular, the moment I see any decent reforms, I will compliment them on that, and I will be very appreciative, and I will obviously talk about this. But for now we wait, I guess. All right, so that's it on the Trump, Rutte, NATO, everything situation. If you have any questions, let me know, because if not, we will be moving on to other topics. We have a lot of other topics to cover. I applied to be the new Russian transport secretary. No, please no. We don't want to lose you like this. Come on. Did Putin send many drones last night? It was less than before. It was, I think, 60. Wait, we were just looking at the numbers. I already forgot. I have a memory of a goldfish. So. Oh wait, 60 was the other day. Last night was 140. Yeah, I'm telling you, I have the memory of a goldfish. And we had some missiles too. Oh, Christ. And this is on top, of course, of the FPV strikes in the frontline regions, because there were some other strikes on the frontline regions. There was a strike on Kherson. Yeah, somebody really wanted me to talk about Kherson, but those of you who are watching me consistently, you know that we talk about Kherson all the time. And yeah, still very much the ongoing situation in Kherson. There was some agricultural equipment hit by an FPV drone with an explosive. Devastating. However, there was, I guess, a good update in a way, if you can call it that. So a couple of days ago we talked about how there was this horrifying FPV strike, human safari in Kherson, and Russian drone operators killed a 1-year-old boy with this deliberate targeted strike. Boy's grandma was injured, and the boy he didn't make it. So what happened after that was that our forces apparently targeted the facility of the Russian drone operators on the other side of Dnipro River. So if you're looking at the map right now, you can see this is Dnipro River, right? And it divides Ukraine in two parts, and it also separates, in this particular case, it separates the Russia-occupied parts of Kherson from the parts of Kherson that are under Ukrainian control. And so in this place called Oleshki, apparently in one of the residential buildings, there was a base of those drone operators, and it got destroyed. So our side called it the revenge for that boy. So apparently this is good. It shows that we do have some ways and some countermeasures to do something about this horror. So hopefully we will see more of that, because one of the reasons why they feel so free to do this type of stuff is because they feel there's going to be no repercussions. They feel that they can just simply get away with it. They can just do it for the sake of training, for the sake of fun, and nothing's going to happen. Well, apparently something can happen. And I imagine if we had something to hit them back with, like for instance, if we receive additional ammunition, if we receive additional rockets, then we're going to see more stuff like this, and hopefully less of those human safaris. I'm not going to show you again any images. Last time we talked about it, I also didn't show you anything, but the image of the killed boy, yeah, it was very widely circulated on social media. So if you follow the situation in Ukraine, I'm sure you probably unfortunately saw that. And hi Maddie, good to see you. We're already discussing everything. Already discussed Trump, so what is your opinion of the newly appointed prime minister? Every new appointments that occur, there is major reshuffling happening inside of the Ukrainian government right now. I don't really see any. It just seems like just a reshuffling of the same people from one position to another. So I don't see any real breakthrough in those, new appointments. So it's just, I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of that is. Perhaps to create this, to give an idea of some change happening, but so far it seems more performative to me, especially if you take into the account what was happening last week. So yeah, anyway, okay. Any questions about Trump, about Rutte, about the weapons, or or anything at all? How bad do you think Russia's economy is? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Not as bad as they make it out to be. Obviously, none of the dramatic, oh my god, they have nothing to eat. No, nothing like that. Hi, Em. Hello. But it's clearly in deep crisis, and there is clearly some sort of time limit. And if whoever figures out the time limit for the situation, to actually drop dead, that's gonna be the person with the key to handling the situation correctly. But so far everybody's just giving different versions. Oh, they have a year, they have several years, they have months, they have decades, they are actually winning, in the sanctions or so. Yeah, a lot of very conflicting information. So far, what I know for a fact is that they have money to continue with the war. They have money to continue with the war. They have money to continue with the manufacturing. They have money to continue with the parallel import. We were just discussing last time how they have delivered themselves a machine that is capable of producing artillery, forging artillery from Spain, Austrian equipment that they purchased through Spain, and that is now going to be actively manufacturing artillery for them. So is this a deep economic crisis? Hard to say. It's hard to say. Good to see you. Hello. Oh yeah, on the international stage he has been wonderful. And I know that people love him abroad and he managed to connect with people, so that's good. He's really good at it. He's good at it because he has background in show business, so it makes sense, right? Yeah, I know. So many actually of those systems have been implemented, or like similar systems. Good to see you too. All right, then no questions about Trump, so we're moving on, everybody. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to Donald. What is he talking about?
30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week. The way that was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing.
The cool part about this press conference is that you can click on any moment and it's going to be him talking about something. Thank you, Em. Something else entirely. And you can never predict what it's going to be. So it's Pakistan, then
big buildings.
Big buildings.
And we're probably talking about 100% or something like that. We could do secondary tariffs.
Secondary tariffs.
17 will go, or a big portion of the 17 will go to the war side.
All right. Anyway, goodbye. It was not good seeing you. I wish there was something much more interesting regarding that. But no. Also, Keith Kellogg is in Kiev, by the way, everybody. This is him being greeted by Yermak. This is Trump's envoy, so obviously this was meant to kind of match timing-wise what was happening in Washington. So Kellogg's visit to Zelensky in Kiev and also the Rutte-Trump press conference. So Zelensky already spoke about it. He said that it was very productive. We'll see. We will have to see about that. Has he already released his daily brief? No, he just talked about our new vice-premier-ministerku. All right, okay. But the statement, I believe, was, I think he used the word productive about, yep, that was the related article. He stated that the conversation with Kellogg, that's Trump's envoy to Ukraine, was productive. And yeah, they discussed the reinforcement of the air defense for Ukraine and new sanctions against Russia. So, okay. That was basically, I imagine, to bring Zelensky and our government up to date on what was going on in Washington, what was discussed between Rutte and Trump. So, all right, everybody. What is the next? Okay, Trump we already discussed, thankfully. I also had some other things I wanted to discuss. Let me just... So many articles. There was another shooting at the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. I hate how it just from time to time comes back into our newsfeed in the worst light imaginable. Whenever we hear about the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant that is temporarily occupied by Russia, it's always in some sort of, nuclear terrorism or potential threat to its context. And this was a statement from IAEA about the situation, because they have a team that tries to monitor the situation there, and they were reporting hearing hundreds of rounds of small arms fire last night. This was from July 13th. The latest sign of military activity potentially threatening nuclear safety and security. Once again, it keeps happening. I know. Let me see what else. This was Grossi, the director general of IAEA. The large number of shots repeatedly fired for about an hour from 10 p.m. local time was unusual. That was unusual. It would be weird if it was usual. All right, unusual. Conducting a site walk down this morning, they saw numerous small caliber casings lying scattered on the ground near reactor units 5 and 6. There was no sign of broken windows or other physical damage. The team at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is seeking further information about the incident. Such military activity at or near a major nuclear power plant is clearly unacceptable. Don't you dare, Russian military, Russian army, do that. But also notice how they're not naming any names, right? It's just someone randomly started shooting. Maybe it was the nuclear power plant itself that just started shooting back at Grossi and Grossi himself is not there, at the team. Yeah, anything could happen. So yeah, he reiterated his deep concern, and the shooting came after a series of purported attacks and other incidents involving drones near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plants and other nuclear facilities, including a report of a strike a few days ago in the city of Enerhodar, where most of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant's staff live, and also it's a temporarily occupied Ukrainian town, and that means this is where a lot of the enemy military is also located. Coincidentally, I know. This is one of the major issues that frontline cities face on both sides, because this is also where military is located, right? So there are people trying to live, and also this is an active war zone. Grossi reiterated concern. Drone strikes would violate the pillars for nuclear safety. So yeah, but it keeps going, right? Last time when it was in the news with this incident with them losing power, we have discussed how, first of all, it's again used for nuclear terrorism, right? We've been through this how many times? Second of all, it usually, whenever it pops up back in the news, it's not just one separate incident. Thank you, Else1, thank you. It's usually a lot of things at once, and there you have it. There's a shooting immediately, a week after the last alarm, so I know. Clara is asking, I missed the beginning, what happened to the boy? Oh, this is from the last time. He was unfortunately killed in the human safari in Kherson. This is when the Russian drone operators used their drones to hunt down civilians, and there was a 1-year-old boy with his grandma. They were in their backyard and they were attacked by an FPV drone, and grandma was injured and the boy unfortunately didn't make it. And so later, after that, there was a strike back from the Ukrainian forces into the facility that was reportedly hosting the operators, Russian drone operators responsible for that, and the facility was destroyed. So that's a recap. Was this thunder or was it an explosion? Okay, we will keep listening. I'm sure nuclear plants can handle a round of bullets. Yeah, it's so weird to see this just sort of randomly happening, right? It's like, here's this nuclear power plant, and here's this team from this international agency monitoring it, and then they just find a lot of bullets and they're deeply concerned. So, all right. And this comes a week after it has lost power for several hours. So something's definitely in the making. Where is a good country to live? Oh, that's a wonderful question. I would imagine Bhutan, probably. I always wanted to move to Bhutan. Do you guys know what Bhutan is? I remember reading, when I was in high school, I read about it in an encyclopedia, and it said that it only had one factory, and it was a Coca-Cola factory. And I said, this is wonderful. But it's also very hard to move there. It's beautiful. It's in the Himalayas, in the Himalayan mountains. It's very hard to move there. It's also very hard to go there as a tourist. I think they have some sort of like special fee. And also visa, I think, is not that easy to get. So it's okay, it is too close to China for its own good, but it's in the mountains. And because it's surrounded by the mountains, I think we can consider it a relatively safe area, because if there is any sort of military activity in the area, the mountains will make it very hard to actually, invade it. So yeah, I think Bhutan would be my go-to choice for the best country, for the safest country. Trump has agreed to sell stuff. He's an arms dealer and thinks he deserves praise. Again, it's better than nothing. And of course, we're still very, very grateful. But it's also hilarious considering that we have been through this. We have been in the conversation. Remember, there was this point in time, a couple months ago, when Zelensky offered to purchase work with the Europeans and purchase Patriot systems from Trump, and everybody laughed at him and Trump ignored him. And now this is exactly what's happening, but it's just presented as something that he did. It's like the art of the deal, right? So it's insufferable. But yeah, that's the type of politics we're witnessing right now. A bunch of men, children doing whatever they want. So All right. Which country is Ukraine's biggest supporter? I would say, oh, thank you, Daydreamers. This is a chicken. Thank you. I think, well, a lot. I don't think we have one greatest supporter. And it depends in which terms you are thinking. If you're thinking in terms of just military support, then you can look at the numbers, right? Or if you're looking in terms of also who accepted most refugees, and also there is, humanitarian aid. So there are all of these different ways to measure it. But I think, the EU countries, US, Canada. Hi, Carol. Good to see you. So, yeah, it's a pretty predictable list. We're also streaming on, so it's TikTok and it's YouTube for now. For now, this is how we're doing this. All right, I'm just trying to keep up with 2 chats and also not to lose my mind, because, sometimes I do, sometimes I get distracted. Oh, hi, Krampus. Long time no see. Thank you. Howdy. Already discussed the Trump-Rutte situation. Let me know if you have any questions about that. And we also discussed some shellings and some strikes and the situation at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Zaporizhzhia. Why did I say it in Japanese almost? I didn't hear that. Is Spain going to punish the entity that did this? So the problem with the parallel import, and whenever we figure out, it's usually the journalists that figure out something is happening, and after they do an investigation and they figure out, okay, this European company is selling stuff to, say, middlemen in India, who then sells it to Russians, which is the most often case scenario. And then the journalists go to that European company and they say, actually, you guys, maybe you don't know, but you're helping Russia with the sanctions. 9 out of 10 times, that European company in question just ignores everything. They just ignore what was said to them, and they proceed with doing whatever they want because they have a perfect excuse. They're not selling it to Russia directly, right? They're selling it to the middlemen in India, and they don't know what's going to happen after that. The buyer in India is telling them that it's, safer. I'm just using India as an example because it's one of the most often case scenarios, but it could be Uzbekistan, it could be Tajikistan, it could be Georgia, it could be anywhere pretty much under the sun. So the buyer said, no, it's for us. We need this machine that is perfect for forging artillery in Uzbekistan. So, and there was only one instance recently where the French company actually took what the journalists told them into account and promised that they were not going to do it. And also they tried to get, I think, the equipment back from India. I'm not sure if that was successful or not. But most of the times they have a perfect excuse because they're not trading with Russia directly, right? So... one journalist said Trump does not read his daily brief. He's his own daily brief. He is his own daily brief on everything and anything, all of the time, as practice is showing us. All right. Coincidentally, while we're at the topic of everything, well, I mean, we do talk a lot about US and Trump, and we also talked about Elbridge Colby and his fascinating decision, allegedly his and Pete Hegseth's decision to withdraw that latest batch of weapons that was already on its way to Ukraine, because Elbridge does not believe that this is the direction of most vital importance for the US, that the US has to concentrate on the Far East. And also, so we discussed this in the past, and we discussed Taiwan because everything is interconnected, and this Financial Times article comes related to that. US demands to know what allies would do in event of war over Taiwan. So we have been witnessing how the rhetoric has been escalating and escalating and escalating. We had more unusual statements from China, with the Chinese foreign minister basically openly admitting to the Europeans that China doesn't want Russia to lose in Ukraine because then the US would concentrate on them. And then there are all of these other, which we have discussed last stream. Last stream was very China dedicated. All of these other little remarks and little things that point at, the possible upcoming escalation in the Far East. And yeah, this is just the next one in line surrounding that. So they're saying Trump administration says it's trying to prevent war, but raises eyebrows by calling for commitments from Australia and Japan. This is double ironic because remember how they just failed. There's just this scandal that erupted with Japan because of the tariffs, right? The trade deal that Japan tried so hard to get the best bargain for, yeah, it didn't. It got hit with a tariff. And now immediately we have the, hey, what are you going to do if China invades Taiwan? The Pentagon is pressing Japan and Australia to make clear what role they would play if the US and China went to war over Taiwan, in an effort that has frustrated the two most important American allies in the Indo-Pacific. Elbridge Colby, you guys remember Elbridge, our favorite guy with a name that sounds like he's 87? US Undersecretary of Defense for Policy has been pushing the issue in meeting with Japanese and Australian defense officials in recent months, said 5 people familiar with the discussion. The art of the deal, everybody. The art of the deal. I know. Don't you just love it? Okay, sorry, I missed a lot of comments. I got distracted with Elbridge. But it's just the timing. The perfect timing of the failed deal. Okay, not failed, but this is the deal that made Japan really mad. Japanese Prime Minister, whom Trump calls Mr. Japan, he even went on a very unusually angry rant and basically talked about how Japan is not going to be humiliated like this. Da, da, da. Thank you, hello. And immediately we have this. By the way, so yeah, what are you going to do when it happens? The push is hi Milda, thank you, is the latest effort to convince US allies in the Indo-Pacific to enhance deterrence and prepare for potential war over Taiwan, which I think by this point in time everyone is already realizing is pretty much inevitable. After publication, Colby wrote on X that the Pentagon was implementing Trump's agenda on restoring deterrence and achieving peace through strength. He said that included urging allies to step up their defense spending and other efforts related to our collective... Okay, that's just a bunch of nonsense. So yeah, interesting policy. 10 policies out of 10 would recommend. And also this immediately brings us to North Korea. I know you guys love North Korea. Remember those guys? I know, we miss them. Bhutan charges, yes, $100 per day. I remember it was some crazy number because I've always been dreaming of going, but then I actually did my research and I was like, no way in hell. That's insane. Thank you. So yeah, only question I have is, when are these old miserable cronies going away for good? I wish I knew. I was just complaining to everybody how I hate the fact that I have to know Putin forever. I remember Putin ever since I remember myself. He was always a constant presence in my life. And just, I was born before he became the Russian president, but obviously I don't really remember my first year, so pretty much ever since I remember myself, I remember his insufferable mug, and all of this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, God. Yeah, I know. It's the most common scheme with those middlemen in Asia when they're trying to avoid the sanctions. Sorry guys, I'm super behind. I think Melania just wants to know how much longer she... I don't even know why he mentioned it. It's like he was trying to brag that they're still talking or something. So, yeah, that was weird hearing him mention that. Were you popular in school? We don't really operate in these same categories as you guys do, like popular, not popular. But I think by the like American standards, no, 100% no. But I would be like, I don't know, who do I compare myself to? Like Janice from Mean Girls. But I had a group of friends. I always had friends around me, and I was actually friends with some of the popular cool kids, which was weird because how did that work? And also with some of the weird ones. So yeah, there was. It's just a bit not as cliquey, I think, as thank you so much, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't pronounce your name, but thank you, appreciate it. a lot of. What do you think of Malta blocking EU sanctions on Russia? The usual suspects, everybody. I know we usually talk about Hungary and Slovakia, right? But Malta makes all the sense in the world too, considering how much of the Russian influence there is. It's one of the EU countries with the golden passports, right? Golden visas, the ones that you can purchase for a lot of money, and there's a lot of Russian influence since I don't even know when. Not surprised at all. And yeah, these are the two countries that are allegedly blocking the next package of the EU sanctions against Russia, what should be the 18th package. Yeah, that's Malta and that's Slovakia. I don't know where Orban is. He's probably busy doing what, God knows what, hiding his money. Thank you, Maddie. But yeah, so for now, Malta has overtaken this noble task of Orban's in blocking the sanctions. Oh no, wait, Orban is busy blocking the conversations about Ukraine's acceptance into the European Union. So he has his mission. So now Malta is on the sanctions situation. Okay, that I just answered. So that's regarding Malta. That's regarding Malta. But North Korea, everybody, how excited are we to see Kim hosting Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, and saying that he will support Russia, of course, to resolve Ukraine war, meaning, of course, to destroy us and help Russia in any way they can. Look how happy they look together. Kim is just glowing. Lavrov is not glowing. He's really suspicious color, but okay. He is 1,000,000 years old, so that's understandable. They have met up, unfortunately for all of us. Kim Jong-un told Russia's top diplomat his country was ready to unconditionally support Moscow's every effort to resolve the conflict in Ukraine, state media reported on Sunday. By the way, this is also when I discovered that apparently there is like an official source for North Korean media in English. And just look at this headline. Respected comrade Kim Jong-un meets Russian foreign minister. Respected comrade. All right. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, met on July 12th with Sergei Lavrov, Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, who visited the DPRK to take part in the second strategic dialogue between the foreign ministers and Russia. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un gladly received Lavrov and had a talk with him in an atmosphere full of warm comradely trust. At the talk, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov courteously conveyed the warm greetings of Russian President Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin to comrade Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un expressed deep thanks for it and conveyed his friendly greetings to the esteemed comrade Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. I love it. And this is the best discovery I've made the entire week. But now I can finally I have my hands on the best media, the freest media in the world, the North Korean media, everybody. I hope you're all grateful for this, to the respected, glorious comrade Kim Jong-un. Does it have a video of him riding a horse for 12 years? That's the question that I have. So yeah, this just points to the continuous cooperation, ultimately. Something that I think nobody doubted at this point, right? Yeah, I know. Of course, it makes sense considering that it's translation from Korean. But yeah, it's so funny to see it in English. I honestly, for some reason, yeah, I didn't really expect it. I'm easily surprised these days. So yeah, it just shows continuous cooperation, most likely. How do North Koreans assist Russians in their war of aggression? They send troops. They also give them, I think one of the most crucial things that they've been giving them is ammunition. They have a lot of that sitting somewhere. Some of it, I imagine, since the Soviet times, because this is the bastard child of the Soviet Union, North Korea. So another thing that they did, they give them missiles. Some of those missiles are being used to terrorize our cities late at night. So yeah, it's going to continue. Kim said that the two countries share the same views on all strategic issues in conformity with the level of alliance. Okay, that's just a lot of nonsense. But yeah, and also this comes to the backdrop of the meeting between the foreign minister of China. So this is also, and they also reaffirmed their commitments to each other. So yeah, I know it keeps happening. It keeps growing, and the Chinese influence, we all know, in Russia continues to grow. There is already an entire separate tower of the Kremlin that is allegedly Chinese tower. So remember how we talked, whenever we talk about the Kremlin, we bring up these different towers, right? These different players in the Kremlin with different interests, different groups of power pretty much within the hierarchy. Yeah, now there's a Chinese tower, so I know. Not very good for us, but once again, was this an explosion? I think it's the thunderstorm. Okay, let me see. Are the drones anywhere near us? No, they're not. They're still in Zhytomyr, so this couldn't be an explosion. It's probably a thunderstorm. Alright, good. Hello, Tim. How is it going? Welcome, everybody. I'm showing the map and stuff on YouTube, by the way. It's maps and articles mostly, but if you would like to see stuff, you can join us on YouTube. Adding North Korea to possible jump scare. Yeah, Mr. Kim, all red in the face. Tomato Man. Oh, the color of an unhealthy baby. Oh, bless Kim Jong-un trying to prop up Russia while his own citizens are starving. And that performance that he pulled out with him greeting the caskets of the fallen North Korean soldiers in the wards that they absolutely have zero business to being a part of. The absolute hypocrisy, I know. But then again, thank you, Anne. Can we expect anything else from the insane dictator of North Korea, out of all people? I think this is the least we could expect from someone like Kim, who just the entire dynasty never cared about anyone but themselves. So why are we even surprised? Kim Jong-un reminds me of Stewie. Yep, that's Stewie, I know. Just the definition of hypocrisy and cruelty, the entire dynasty. Russia thinks NATO is turning Moldova into a new military battering. Russia thinks NATO is turning everything into a new battering. Everything is a NATO secret, hidden. Thank you. Hi, Helena. Everything is secret NATO base, biolab, Soros camp of extermination. So, yeah. There's nothing new here. It's one of the reasons why it makes so much sense for Moldova to try and speed up its democratic process as much as possible in order to join the EU and hopefully NATO. Or at least the EU. This would be at least some sort of guarantee. Hi, Mu. Good to see you. This would make all the sense in the world, considering that in Moldova you guys also have the Transnistria factor, which, although it's not as frightening as it used to be, it's still a Russian military base sitting at the border in your country. It's an occupied part of your country, so, and it's sitting on our border too, which adds to the fun of being Ukrainian. Wait, is this something? No, okay. I hallucinated more missiles. Sometimes there is nothing, and I feel like there's something flying at me all the time. Hi Zoe, good to see you. Welcome. It's all good, no worries. We're just glad to have you with us for as long as you can. We already had one crazy MAGA person, but I think I muted them, so I know. I'm doing my best. Alright, everyone on YouTube is chilling. People who manufacture the ammunition have no idea what they're even producing. I think it depends. It depends on the case. Sometimes they do. Very much so. What is going on in Ukraine anymore? What exactly would you like to know? We've already talked about the daily drones and missile strikes. We've talked about the human safari in the south. We've talked about the front line we still haven't discussed, so maybe that's something that you would like to know. But the trend remains the same. There is the gradual Russian advancement in the front, and very fierce fighting for every square meter of the land. Let me know what you would like to know, and I will tell you, Taylor. You know me. We are all laughing about these dictators who have their finger close to that red button. I mean, what else are we to do? Right? It's not like we're supposed... They would like for us to sit and tremble in fear, but no. Not a chance. They are ridiculous, these creatures. Okay, now this is Elbridge. This was not... He is also a creature in a certain sense, but obviously nowhere near whatever that is. Oh god. Just look at this smug. Okay. So yeah, we're just... With North Korea, thank you, Poppy. Hi, we are just on a note of continuous cooperation, right? So this is just Russia and North Korea and China doing their own thing. Oh, we had this extremely controversial thing that New York Times did. Yeah, that was very interesting. So they have released a reporting from the Russian region of Kursk that has been, you might remember, it was the scene of the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk, and temporarily Ukrainian forces held some of the territories there. And so the New York Times decided that now is the perfect time to release an article titled "A Landscape of Death: What's Left Where Ukraine Invaded Russia." Photographs and reporting by a certain Nana Heitman, who, and this is very interesting, this is something that they're openly admitting to. In the beginning of the article, you can see it, right? Nana Heitman spent 6 days in frontline areas of Russia's Kursk region, escorted at times by members of the Akhmat Special Forces unit evacuating the area. To those of you who do not know, Akhmat Special Forces, this is the Kadyrovites, this is the unit of Kadyrov. These are the people, this is the unit that has been accused by Ukraine of committing war crimes, in particular in Kyiv region, when they were stationed in Kyiv region during the first stages of the Russian full-scale invasion in 2022. So, what an interesting choice to be escorted for your journalistic reporting by a unit of war criminals. This probably made the reporting so incredibly unbiased and full of truth. Yeah, so that was very interesting to see when this was released. Then I opened the article itself, and it's just everything that you would like to imagine in a propaganda-fueled dream. They burned churches, everything straight out of the Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and yeah, of course, it's an extremely sympathetic to the Russians material. I think we could have all predicted that. But yeah, just interesting to see that this was the opening line of that reporting. That out of all the people that could have potentially, not even FSB, Akhmat, but Christ. So yeah, surprise incursion into Western Russia last summer. The biggest problem in that area, of course, inevitably was the fact that it became a front line and there was the constant fighting. So yeah, inevitably there was devastation, and there's objectively nothing good about something like this. But at the same time, there's nothing objectively good about the war in general. And who knows, nothing like this could have potentially happened if someone didn't invade us in 2022. Because even after they invaded us in 2014, we were kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But it's the 2022 that became, I think, the final. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm obviously not working with New York Times and Akhmat unit, so... Oh, it's good. It makes me happy. Welcome. We're discussing Akhmat and New York Times. You guys, can we believe it? Can we believe it? Thank you, dear. To think Tucker and his benefreaks are more upset over Epstein file. This, of course, because this is a hyperfixation of theirs, right? They've made so much of their personality about it that who is even surprised? When New York Times goes into Russia, I have no trust in any words they come out of it. And if they just did go into Russia, I would be more like, okay, whatever. No, they're just doing some stupid thing. But to openly admit to being escorted around by a bunch of war criminals and mention, I don't know. That's just, yeah. I'm just... All right, okay, sure, New York Times. At this point, again, I don't even know. Am I really yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm not really surprised. It's just this constant disappointment with these people. We just keep falling lower and lower and lower in terms of the standards. Journalistic standards. What's with tariffs? Tariffs on everyone. Tariffs on Moldova, tariffs on Japan, tariffs on... Not for Russia, no, not on Russia for 50 days. Putin has 50 days. Okay, so that was just something that I wanted to talk about related to the New York Times. One more time being the New York Times. Let us see what is happening with the air raid alerts. Okay, most of the country. There are already explosions in Chernihivska Oblast reported from about a minute ago. This is the northern Ukrainian region that is next to Kiev. Okay, the rest of the country is just gradually turning red. So by the looks of it, we're in for, yeah, a bit of a not so fun night. If you guys are seeing the map is on YouTube, by the way. The YouTube link is in the bio, and YouTube also has the chat, which is very nice and chill. So if you are overwhelmed by what's happening on TikTok and in the TikTok chat, you can always go into the YouTube chat. It's much more chill. There's reports that Russia is using chemical weapons since 2022. They've been... Thank you. Thank you, dear. Dark topic, very pretty octopus. They've been using them since 2022, and when it happened for the first time, it happened in the besieged Mariupol, and I remember we were all so enraged, and we thought, oh my god, this is gonna be it, this is gonna be the final red line for the world, this is gonna be the moment when perhaps someone's gonna step in, something will be done. Nothing was done. So they continue doing this. This is pretty much a routine thing at this point. Just recently, I think the international organizations caught up on this and they started reporting on this too. But yeah, it's been a thing since 2022. Here, water, electricity, everything is fine. The closer you are to the front lines, the more complicated the situation gets. And also there is a particular... Thank you. There's a particular problem in this region called Mykolaiivska Oblast. In Mykolaiv region, there's been issues with water supply since the very beginning, because I believe during the first rounds, the first weeks of the full-scale invasion, they have blown up the water pipes, and ever since then it was not restored. So Mykolaiv has been struggling with it. And also, interestingly, the occupied Donetsk has been having issues with water pretty much ever since Russia occupied it. So that's... it's not funny. It's not funny. But at the same time, it kind of is. Because there were no issues with water or anything in Donetsk before the Russian occupation. It was a modern European city. And then, yeah, now that they don't have water and haven't had it in years and most likely will not have it. There was just a recent report on how there's not going to be water in the foreseeable future. They're still hoping that maybe Putin will fix the water supply for them. No, he's not fixing the water supply. He's too busy killing people. So, I'm good. How are you? How are you doing? Hello. Thank you. Yeah, we only had one crazy MAGA. I know. And no crazy Russians, at least for now. Am I missing any crazy Russians? Please let me know if there are any crazy Russians. I would like to curse them off because I'm in a mood today. I'm in one of my moods. I'm ready to yell in Russian and tell them all off, as I like to do. Идите нахрен, черти. Yeah, people are exhausted. People are exhausted, and the closer you get to the front line, and the front line situation is just a whole thing in itself. I cannot imagine how they live there. But in the cities that started to get targeted more and more in the recent weeks, like Kiev, for instance, right? Kiev has been targeted. It's constantly targeted, but recently there were almost no breaks for them. Odessa, right? In Odessa, there are constant strikes. Dnipro has been under repeated strikes as well. So it takes a psychological toll on people. They just cannot function, obviously, anymore, because it's one thing. Thank you, Pampas. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's one thing when there is a break in between those. This is according to the people, some of the people who live there. I wouldn't be able to function at all, even with one explosion. I'm still, reliving everything that we get, like so little of that, and I'm still. But when they had these explosions, these attacks kind of spread out, it made it easier, because even physically, you still manage to get some sleep, right? When it's not every day, like maybe there is like a break of 3 or 4 or 5 days in between the strikes, you manage to get some rest, you manage to get some sleep, you manage to get some activities and some of your life back. But when it's daily, it's overwhelming, and this is like a part of actual terror. A major part of the terror is that you do not have a normal life anymore. So yeah. Wait, I had something else I wanted to discuss. Spain. We were talking about Spain. We're going to talk about Spain again, because they now contracted a major Chinese company to manage their intelligence agency. We will discuss that now that I keep up with tariffs on you, tariffs on your cow, tariffs on your whole family. Exactly. Oh, God. Oh, Lordy. Sad that we were so positive that those chemicals would wake the world up to the evil. I know, back then I was confident that everything that was happening in Mariupol, and Mariupol was the Ukrainian city that was massacred by the Russians live. It was broadcasted live, 24/7. I thought that something would be done. I was so convinced. I couldn't fathom that such a thing could be allowed. And then it was. And I think this really broke something in a lot of us. It was just this point of no return. This is when you realized that, okay, the world as you knew it is officially dead. Nothing matters anymore, so. Why is there hair everywhere? That's my hair. Spain, what are you doing? There's a reason why there's pain in Spain, because what do you mean you just awarded this huge Huawei Chinese company contracts to manage intelligence agency wiretaps? The Spanish government is using Huawei to manage and store judicially authorized wiretaps in the country used by both law enforcement and intelligence services, despite concerns about how the Chinese government could compel Huawei. This is... Yeah, I know. They probably don't see anything wrong with it too, because, come on. The Ministry of the Interior officially awarded Huawei a 12.3 million euro contract following a standard public procurement process. It's first reported by Spanish digital newspaper The Objective. Huawei had already been contracted to provide technical support to CTEL, Spain's integrated system for intercepting telecommunications. Okay, a couple things to notice here. This comes after everything we have discussed last time about all of the increased security risks coming from China towards Europe. This is coming to the backdrop of China already openly admitting that they will be backing up Russian aggression against Ukraine. Hi, Fermin, thank you. This, and also, of course, partially admitting, if you understand that Russian aggression is also aimed at Europe, at the European Union, and it is, especially if you take into the account all of the hybrid attacks and everything, the terrorist attacks and everything that the Kremlin is most likely behind, you understand that, yeah, there is already aggression aimed at the European Union, and China is already now admitting openly that they're backing up that aggression, and the rhetoric has been getting harder, right? There's this hard line taken seemingly by some of the European officials regarding China. So with all of that in mind, there's Spain. It's just wonderful. What a wonderful place. I immediately remembered about that one time when Trump said that Spain is a BRICS country, and everyone was like, oh, Trump probably doesn't know what BRICS even is. But, perhaps, I don't want to say it, but perhaps he had a point. Okay, do whatever you want, Spain. Who am I to judge? I know, right? Oh, God. Wait, well, Chelsea beat Real Madrid in football. That's how we English support Ukraine. We beat the Spanish in football. Thank you. Thank you so much. The United Kingdom. It's appreciated. But yeah, this is just so funny to see all of these things. Hi, Feisty. Good to see you. Trump said NATO will pay for the new arms for Ukraine. Did he forget US as a NATO? He really needs the optics to be as if, okay, this is the NATO that is paying. And more specifically, it's the Europeans in the NATO that are paying. Because remember how much of time him and JD spent saying, oh, Europe has to pay. So now they need to concentrate on that. Because they're saying that they're going to continue supporting Ukraine. A lot of the MAGA people, they will not understand this because they hate us and they want us. So he's going to be like, no, it's actually the art of the deal. The art of the deal, you guys. Look, it's the Europeans that are going to be paying for it. And of course the US contribution, which of course there's going to be the US contribution. NATO is the US organization. This is just going to be sort of in the shadows and perhaps somehow intertwined with the mineral deal. At least for now, I think it seems this way. Because he recently was announced that Trump is going to be the head of some sort of investment fund for the Ukrainian economic rebuilding or something, which is like, massive red flag. And I was immediately like, but okay, it is what it is. That's the reality that we live in. So, yeah, but this is about the optics. The way they keep bringing this up and the way they're going to be covering it. It's going to be, look, they're buying it. And even the Reuters reporting that we were looking at the very beginning, there's a lot about, it's not the American taxpayers, it's the NATO. It's the NATO that's going to be paying for it. Who is in the NATO, Donald? Who are these people? But yeah, it's just a little trick that they're doing. Just a little play, a little game. A little game, I know. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I know. That was 2022 was wild. A part of me officially, it was never the same after 2022. It was so many illusions that were shattered overnight, pretty much. And I still had some illusions, even after 2014, after literally witnessing the international law collapse, explode in front of me, in my face. Yeah, I still had some illusions. Well, it's a new world and we're just gonna have to learn how to live in it. You know, we don't have to die together with international law. We can survive. We'll be fine. Right? Right? Please tell me that I'm correct. Alright, that's just Spain being crazy. Recently they've been on fire. First selling Russians equipment for artillery forging, now contracts for Huawei. What's next? I'm afraid to imagine. I don't even want to think about it. We just had new information about the recent attack, a drone attack in Kharkiv region. The count of injured has raised to 10 people, including a 13-year-old girl. There was also one woman that passed away, was killed in the strike. This was today, around early afternoon, and they used the Shahedi on the residential areas, and as a result, a lot of people injured and one woman was killed. Kharkiv is, you guys remember where Kharkiv is? Wait, where is this particular place? We'll have to check. Zlatopil, I don't know where that is. Is this Zlatopil? Okay, you don't know it either. What do you mean? Sometimes it happens. If it's a small place, then it just won't be on the map, unfortunately. But I imagine it must be somewhere closer to. Although it was by the Shahed. Now I won't be able to find it. So unfortunately, we're just gonna look at the map of Kharkiv region, which is where it is, and it's under constant strikes. So daily strikes on the city of Kharkiv itself and also on the smaller villages and towns unfortunately. When you open, like for instance, Ukrainska Pravda, like I have open right now, and if you're on YouTube, you're seeing the front page of Ukrainska Pravda. This is one of the biggest Ukrainian newspapers. It was founded by Georgy Gongadze. He was this Georgian journalist who was living and working in Ukraine, and then he was massacred brutally. He was killed with the involvement of our then president, allegedly. It was this huge scandal, but anyway, the newspaper that he founded lives as a statement and a testament to his work in life and sacrifice. But if you open the front page, the first thing that you're going to see the approximate losses of the Russians in, the Russian invaders who were killed, and also the Russian equipment. And next you're seeing all of the biggest news, right? The first thing, number of people who were killed in the drone attack in Kharkiv. The second thing, something that Zelensky said then, Shahed drone attack in Sumy region. A school was hit, there are injured people. A strike on Sumy region, 2 people dead, 4 people injured. Russian drones hit Dnipropetrovska Oblast. There is 1 adult and 2 children who were injured. This is the front page. And these are the front pages of pretty much every single media outlet every single day. This is the main news here. Drone strike, drone attack, drone strike, missile strike, drones, just drones everywhere. Everything's about the drones. And then we have our little political games and all of the little reshuffling, Spotify shuffle that Zelensky is doing. He takes our prime minister, and apparently he's going to be our new defense minister. Why? Nobody knows. And yeah, it's just all of this mumbo-jumbo that makes no sense. And nothing about this makes any sense when there are no reforms. So, unfortunately, yeah. But this is just to give you an idea of where we are. Alright, everybody, let's see what you guys are saying. There's a conversation happening. We'll love to see it. Hi, Matt. Good to see you. Hopefully we will. Most importantly, something for the drones, because you can see the drones. The drones is the worst of the worst. The drones are the biggest issue. The drones are used for constant terror against the civilian population. So, and there are different types of drones, and there are many drones. Big drones, small drones, all kind of fake drones. Yeah, that's also a thing, as we have recently discussed. But yes, of course, they're only targeting military. Come on, товарищ, you remember that the Russian army is only targeting the military goals with highest precision in the world. So we all remember that. Everything else is a fake news. So while we're on the topic of Sumy, yeah, let's just discuss these recent strikes on Sumy too. Just a reminder to those of you who do not remember, this is the region of Sumy, right here, very close to Russia. This is where the current Russian advancement is happening. This is where we are as of yesterday, but also please remember that this map is not updated regularly. There are some delays, so there could be potentially bigger advancements, I'm afraid. And recently we have discussed that Sumy is now within the reach of the FPV drones, and Sumy is now within the reach of the Russian artillery. And we have had, recently we have had the Shahed drone strike in Sumy with the medical facility. I think it's a hospital and also a school that were targeted. So there were 7 people who were injured. And yeah, there are some pictures from, some blood. Okay, we're gonna scroll that. And it was a double tapping too. So the double tapping is when there is the first strike on the area, then they wait a little bit, usually for the rescuers to arrive, and then they hit the area again. So it looks like something like this. And yeah, that's the pictures from the officials from the region. Why are you so small? Can you? Okay, we need to get another source on Sumy, the one that I can show you, because I don't think I have it in Telegram. But yeah, that's the Shahed strike, and this is also another. I think this is the FPV drone strike. Okay, this is what you're seeing right now on your screen if you're on YouTube. This is the result of the strike of the drones and an aerial guided bomb. So yeah. That's not just the drones. This was in the city of a town called Shostka. I first learned about it because this is where they make cheese. We used to buy the cheese from that brand called Shostka, and I, for the longest possible time, I thought that this was just the cheese. No, it's also the name of a town in Sumy region. Yep, there we go. There it is. You will see now how what you're seeing in green around Shostka is interestingly how the Russian troops were advancing from the territory of Russia. The pink line that you're seeing right now, this is the Russian border, and this is how they were advancing. And I remember people from Shostka writing in shock in the beginning of the full-scale invasion in 2022, because they basically just sort of ended up in the rear of the Russian invasion, and there was a lot of confusion from some people because you see how they were advancing, right? They just sort of went in, and yeah. Anyway, going back to what happened in Shostka, the aerial guided bomb strike, 2 people dead, 4 people injured, 2 men, 50-55, sorry, slightly graphic image, apologies everybody. Well, for us it's not really graphic, but I imagine for some of you that would be graphic. And also one of the apartment buildings that were hit, there were 4 people who were injured, including a 7-year-old kid and a 30-year-old mother and her son. And yeah, so that's the result of that strike. You can just see basically a bunch of ruins left. And more than 30 buildings were damaged as a result of that strike. The problem with the aerial guided bombs is that unfortunately there is no countermeasure against them. With drones, at least you can think of something. The only actual way to counter the aerial guided bombs is to hit the airplanes that are launching them. So for that you need the longer range missiles, or you need operations inside the enemy territory, similar to how, remember the spiderweb operation that we saw, like something like that, just more of that, because they have a lot of those. They have a lot of the of these bombs. They mainly use them along the front line. They also use them on our defense lines. This is one of the worst things to have happened to our defense lines, because what they do, they basically throw in the barrage of these aerial bombs into a trench, for instance, and they just completely obliterate it, and then they send in the troops to clean up the area, so to finish off whoever is left in those trenches. So yeah, anyway, this was just a very sad update from Sumy, as you can see, just from the recent horrors that have been happening. But you see, it's so close to Russia. It's just, yeah, devastating. Okay, we now have Zhytomyr. No more air raid alert in Zhytomyr. That's good. Okay, I keep following the map of the drones and the air raid alerts just to see, what's happening. Okay. Oh, hi Zoe. I am seeing you here. What is happening? Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for answering. Did I miss something? Are there underground bunkers in these cities? I'm afraid no. There are some, so we still have in some towns and cities the Soviet era bunkers in certain buildings, but I'm afraid this is it. I remember reading about the underground facilities that they started building in Kharkiv. Right, this is Kharkiv region. In Kharkiv city itself, they were building underground schools, I think, as like a way to sort of test whether or not if it's possible, for the people to continue, for the children to continue attending schools, but underground. But no, unfortunately, this is not something that is implemented en masse, I'm afraid. All right, you guys, I'm back to you. Let me see what you were saying. If I can, okay, the Sumy. So yeah, Maddie, hopefully this answers your question about Sumy. Sorry, there is nothing positive, unfortunately. We have a lot of the territories partially encircled. You mean in the east? Yeah. Unfortunately, this has been happening for a while. Which area are you talking in particular? Is it this area? As you can see, there is a very dangerous situation here, or is it this area near Pokrovsk, or is it this area, getting closer to Konstantinivka? Which one? You tell me. Unfortunately, this is just, this has been the reality of the type of warfare that's been implemented. Whenever this happens, we as civilians, we can only look at this and hope, okay, hopefully they will withdraw the troops in time. That's the only thing that you can hope and pray for, and because you don't really have any influence over the situation. It's all in the hands of the commandant, I'm afraid. So yes, I'm afraid so. I do think that the next ones after us are going to be the Baltics. But they're getting ready. This is good. I think everyone over there has very rational approach. And they understand what they're dealing with very well. And there are some very, healthy, clear strategies being implemented. When I was reading, Lithuanian government thinking and planning ahead and thinking about the evacuation of Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania, I thought this is very smart. So they're also reinforcing the borders, and they're asking for more NATO assistance, and they're doing everything right. So hopefully it's not going to happen. Hopefully. Let's just hope for the best, okay? Let's just hope for the best. But that scenario that we talked about, and then Rute has confirmed that this is one of the main worries that they're currently looking at, that there's going to be a coordinated attack, with China going to invade Taiwan and also pushing Putin to, invade into the European Union, into NATO. Yeah, this is something that genuinely terrifies me, the prospect of that. Also, while we're on this topic, there were news from Poland. So Poland is planning to send out 235,000 people to pass the military medical commission, because there's been recently, comes as a part of the effort in many European countries, either hidden or not so hidden, to kind of start with the mobilization, to get more ready for what's about to happen. So in addition to men of conscription age, women and citizens over 50 years old will also be called. Well, this is according to the Polish newspaper Wyborcza. So starting from January next year, about 235,000 Poles will receive some summonses about the mandatory appearance for the military medical commission. This is an automated translation, so it could sound a little weird. The aim is to determine the physical and mental stability of citizens for military service. Recipients will be men, separate group of women over the age of 19. While we're on the topic of the gradual militarization and what we're all looking at, it's gonna be slow in some countries. It's gonna be much more rapid in other countries. We discussed a couple streams ago the effort in Denmark, with them now mobilizing, with them now enrolling women into the army. And it's just, if you look all over the European Union, there you just can see these like lighting up these different efforts, different measures, different increased, for instance, in some places, like in Austria, for instance, in Vienna, there is just the number of posters that is increased on the streets, like get enrolled into the army. But even in Vienna, in Austria, right? Even if they're doing this, something must be happening, right? Was this a moth that just fell out of the sky? How did you do that? Okay, I don't want to know. Hello. Yeah, Germany also. Everyone is announcing something. It's just different scale, and it's also different. They're different in how loud they are and how open they are about this. But pretty much everyone is doing this. They're remilitarizing like crazy. Which, what else is there to do? How I wish for peace on every one of us. I know. I wish for this too. I never could imagine in a million years this would be my dream, but Mish is not even here. The moment she hears me starting to get ready, so I get my equipment, I set up my phone, I set up my laptop, my microphone, she immediately leaves. She hates the fact that I stream. Maybe Maybe she's embarrassed of me. I'm not sure. And she's also very camera shy, so. And whenever she tries to catch the moth or a mosquito, it's such a lazy attempt. She just kind of, Mish is my dog, to those of you who don't know. She's just kind of, just chilling, and then she goes like, and that's it. That's her best attempt. Chewie, on the other hand, Chewie goes on a full-blown hunt. She hunts them down, and then she kills them. She hunts the moth down. Whenever we get mice, from time to time we get mice. That's the beauty of living in the house on the ground. She catches mice too, and that's not pretty at all because she suffocates them, and then she brings them to us like a cat. I know. What's happening between Azerbaijan, Aliyev and Pashinyan, that's Azerbaijan and Armenia, shook hands recently in Abu Dhabi, which is obviously, it's more of a symbolic gesture, but yeah, it's just something that we couldn't have seen happen at all, even a couple weeks ago. But yeah, the entire situation with all of these people detained in Azerbaijan and Russia, it sort of quietly started to die down. So no major escalation regarding that, at least for now. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. We'll see. It can still come back. You never know. But I don't feel they're doing much in Latvia. I guess it depends. Just when you take kind of like a step back and you take a look, but now that I think of it, yeah, whenever I read about it, it's usually Estonia and Lithuania doing something with Latvia. Latvia, come on, step up. Come on, Latvia, we believe in you. Yeah, I remember when we were taking a class on Baltics in particular in Estonia, when we were doing a semester in Estonia in my grad school, and we were discussing the differences between the Baltics, especially in the after the Soviet occupation fell and the regaining of independence, the differences in economic and social development. Our Estonian professor pointed out to us that Latvia was the country with the heaviest economic Russian influence. So while Estonia and Lithuania managed to implement the laws that wouldn't allow for as much of the Russian influence in the country, Latvia unfortunately kind of failed to do it. And because of that, there was a huge Russian presence in the Latvian capital. And also you could even see it. There were all of these signs. I remember how much of the Russian cultural events, how many of the Russian cultural events were conducted in Latvia. There were these musical festivals in Jurmala and all of this, so yeah, they told us that influence was much more palpable, but this is just something that I remembered just from the top of my head, so perhaps this could be among the reasons. Hopefully not. Maybe there's just something I don't know. But yeah, so regarding Poland, just another European country, EU country in the list of many to start, gradually stepping up. But also Poland they have been playing the long game. While we're on the topic of Poland, some of you might remember a couple years ago, Poland put in this massive order with South Korea for the I think it was armored vehicles and tanks, so a lot of weaponry they are planning on getting from South Korea, and the orders are all for 5 years in advance, 7 years. So Poland is playing the long game. Poland is preparing itself. Which, it makes sense. It doesn't matter, okay, even if Ukraine doesn't fall, but there is a potential, attack into the European Union, or if Ukraine does fall, and then they get Russia on their border together with Belarus. So they have to be ready. Better to be safe than sorry. All right. So we just looked at that they will be sending all these people to pass the medical commission. Women with education in the field of medical professions, which is, by the way, it's the same in Ukraine. By law, all women with medical professions, they're also supposed to be listed. Anyway, veterinary medicine, okay, that makes sense, navigation, aviation, as well as professions of psychologist, rehabilitation specialist, radiologist, laboratory diagnostician, IT specialist, teleinformatics, navigator, and translator. Okay, so yeah, pretty much all of the jobs that could be needed in the army. All right, that's on the topic of Poland, everybody. Oh, in Sumy, in Kondrativka, really? I was not aware of that. Can you believe it? So on the map, it already points that it's occupied. Kondrativka, okay. It points that it's already occupied, so I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really heard much about the situation there, I'm going to be honest with you. So I hope they manage to get out, but again, as a civilian, that's pretty much as good as it gets for you. You can just hope for the best, because no way to influence it, unfortunately. All right, everybody. I think we have done by this point in time most of the topics, most of the questions, but if there's anything else you would like for me to discuss, you let me know. We're still going to be here for, I think, at least 15 minutes. But yeah, I already look super hectic, which is what happens after about an hour and a half of me ranting. I start to turn into the Wicked Witch of the West, which sad but true, I know. Thank you, dear. Thank you, Zoe. And hi, Jim from Tennessee. Not everything is being published. Right, exactly. Not everything. And it shouldn't be, honestly. In the fog of war, not everything should be a part of the... What is that? That's the door. Of the common knowledge. I know, it keeps growing. Keeps growing. Yeah, we usually lump the Baltics in together. But of course there are differences. There are economic differences, there are cultural differences, there are all of these things. And as we were clearly told during my time in grad school by our Estonian professors. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, we've already discussed Kellogg arriving. This is Trump threatening Kremlin with tariffs if there is nothing in the 50 days. So now we have to wait 50 days. So, yeah. And okay, apparently we will be getting the new Patriot systems and the rockets to Patriots within a couple of days, which is good. Okay, we will be waiting for those. We will be excited. They've also announced the results of the conference in Rome. You guys might remember there was this big conference in Rome that has to... Thank you, Mihaela. Hi. That had to deal with the reconstruction of Ukraine, which is already... can we really talk about the reconstruction when this is what we're facing? There's an active warfare happening, but all right. And we have signed, Ukraine has signed about 200 different agreements, totaling 13 billion euro, which is a lot of money. And I was wondering, when I was reading about all this, remember we were looking at the meeting between Zelensky and the Pope, and I pointed out that, wow, all of our officials are there. Yermak is there, that's Zelensky's right-hand man, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, our Minister of Defense, and then I started learning that we have all of other, like, shady politicians, and our oligarchs were there too. I was like, why are they all there? Now I know, they sent the money, 13 billion euro, of course. So, yeah, they have created a special fund that is supposed to consist of the grants and guarantees and investments for business projects in Ukraine. We need to have, thank you, Cobra, hi, we need to have Ukraine first. We need to keep Ukraine before we can do business projects in Ukraine. Okay, I'm not angry. I'm not angry anymore. 2.3 billion as a part of some investment program, Ukraine facility, which is supposed to be about the restoring of the apartments and also energy. So housing, medicine, and energy, and also supporting the small business. Switzerland, is planning on investing 5 billion euro within 10 years. And also there is a loan, $2.3 billion loan from the UK. Why is everything in euro and the UK loan is in dollars, according to this article? Why not in pounds? Okay. To reinforce the Ukrainian air defense. And also the agreements for the defense industry about the mutual manufacturing of the weapons and cooperation. Okay, this makes sense. This is the only one of all of these that makes sense. I'm so angry about the rest of it. Okay. Okay, let me just close this because I'm just gonna get even angrier, and we don't want that. I'm already very, very hectic and erratic. Alright. See you later, Nightshade. The rest of the family is doing good, Jim. Thank you for asking. They're doing fine. Alright, everybody. Who I cheer on to lead Ukraine. You see, that's been one of our biggest problems throughout the years, this belief that we can just get one person. You know, we need a hero who's going to fix everything, and then it's going to be wonderful. We need a very in-depth, step-by-step reform of our legislation and our institutions. So without that, I don't really think the person in charge really matters that much, because as we have already seen in the past, this system, while it's not reformed, while it's as clumsy and full of all of these issues, it's riddled with problems, it can drag even the best, most inspiring leader to the bottom with it. So yeah, this is what we need. We need the reforms, and hopefully one day we will be getting them. Who knows? Clearly not today. Yeah, and this is something that I've been really, really sad about. This is the number 2 most depressing thing in all of this to me personally, because I was really hoping that this time we can finally come around and do it. Maybe it's gonna happen. Who knows? All right, everybody. Let's not finish on a sad note. Is there's anything happy? It's a Shahed drone. No. I was like, I want to show you something happy, and it's immediately Shahedin. Guys, thank you. No, and then Truth Social with Trump's post about Epstein, which, by the way, got him ratioed on Truth Social. It had 16.7 thousand likes and 17.3 thousand comments. That's his infamous "What's going on with my boys?" and in some cases gals post. No, this is not optimistic. This is not happy at all. Okay, maybe you guys can tell me something happy for a change. In 22, it seemed to mean something when Italy promised to rebuild the theater, work it. The Mariupol one. Yeah, this is such a good example of why this entire rebuilding talk means nothing. Right, because where is this theater now into the Russian occupation? So what even was that? And Italians, by the way, invited Gergiev, that's the, do you guys remember who that is? Putin's body, to perform in Italy. Let me show you. Let's see. Yeah, that's him with Putin. Putin's friend is going to perform at the festival in Italy. And if it's not cancelled, it could be the first performance of such a massive Putin ally since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Obviously, the Ukrainians in Italy are very mad about this. So he's this very famous musician, right? And I think he's internationally famous. The conductor Gergiev. Anyway, yeah, the corresponding appeal to the Minister of Culture of Italy. Wait, what's the festival? The festival near Naples at the end of July is supposed to be. Yeah, so if they go through with this is going to be the first time such a, massive Putin supporter figure is going to get a concert like this. And of course, it's going to open A whole new can of worms with all of them gradually crawling back in. But that's why we're on the topic of Italy. So, yeah. Happy my youngest turns 2 soon. Oh, that's wonderful when you got a little water slide. Oh, that's wonderful. That really made me happy. Okay, thank you for that, TJ. Any manga, anime you're watching? I've been rewatching Mononoke, which is not a very happy anime by any means, but also, I don't know, it just gets me in a fighting mood. So I'm gonna be posting a video on my YouTube channel pretty soon, hopefully, where I'm making a borscht. And yeah, so I was making that borscht and I was watching Mononoke and I was also filming the entire process, so hopefully you guys will like it. I'm gonna post it in a couple days. It's a little crazy, but yeah, that's just how we roll. And oh, thank you, dear. Thank you, Keister9. So yeah, yay! Did we meet the goal? We achieved the goal! Thank you, everyone. Thank you for supporting the live. We have the same problem in the UK. No real answer. I know. It's just, I think in some places it's worse, but we can all feel that. I think all of us can agree that some sort of change is needed. It's just the different scale that we're talking. In some places you don't really need like the entire constitutional reform, hopefully, and here, by the looks of it, we do. So if we still have a country in a couple of years, then yeah, that would be incredible if we could get one. All right, did we do everything? I think we did. I think we did all of the main topics that I had planned. And I think I've answered most of your questions. Did I? Let me check. Oligarchs will oligarch. I know. Insufferable people. Yay. I'm sorry. I don't really open DMs these days because I've had too many crazy people in my DMs. So apologies for this. If you send me something nice and I'm being a mean meanie and I'm not answering, that's because I've had some very awful experiences that maybe one day I will tell you about. But yeah, please don't get mad at me, okay? All right, everybody. I think we have discussed everything. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be wrapping it up. Next live is going to be on Wednesday, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's supposed to be Wednesday, the 16th. I will be putting it up, the upcoming live thingy, on YouTube. And if you hit the bell on YouTube, then it's going to send you a notification. TikTok doesn't really send notifications, and YouTube does it apparently if you hit that bell. So please go subscribe on YouTube. Hit that bell. The links are all in bio, and I will see you all in a couple of days. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you all soon. Okay? Okay. Mwah. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I see you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And thank you to you guys as well. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Again, in 2 days, hit the bell when you see it. Okay? Okay. Okay, hopefully you all heard me. Mwah. I'll see you in 2 days. Thank you. Thank you so much.